Oh, oh, that's weird. Hold on.
Hello?
Hi, can you hear
Yes,
me?
I can.
I'm here. I'm trying to turn off my background. Give me one
Yes,
second. I don't
okay.
know what. How are you doing?
I'm doing good. Very good. We're waiting for a snowstorm.
Is it imminent?
Snowing in the city, but it's not snowing out here, but
Right,
we don't quite know what's going to happen. It could just skirt us, but we'll see. I don't think it's going to be very heavy anyway.
right. We were expecting snow, but not in Seattle, but in the region. And then now it sounds like it's going to be very cold, but not necessarily snow.
What is very cold, like 30 degrees?
Okay, can you yeah, no,
I
like the teens. Okay, I'm gonna try and
It's okay. It's kind of
that is
interesting.
kind of interesting.
Yeah.
My Zoom has been very glitchy since there we go. Okay. Apologies. Are you there? Did I, did I lose you? Okay, Michael Findlay said Mr. Whitmore. Okay.
There you are.
Take two. Okay, there you are. Good to see you. And actually, okay,
As
good.
soon as you said the word glitchy, it went off.
uh,
Oh,
yeah,
yeah.
yeah. No, okay, so snowstorm. No, yeah, no, it was supposed to go down to the teens. I think it'll be okay. I think just for a couple days. Um, but yeah, no, what else? So how was your week? How are you doing?
Um, Doing well. First week back at full time back at work
Yeah, yeah,
and
yeah.
getting back into the rhythm of things. City is humming along. Um, a couple of program notes is that next weekend I'm going to see your Canadian uncle, my Canadian
Yes,
brother.
yes.
Uh, and in fact, the following weekend, I'm going to give a talk on a Saturday at the
Yeah.
Columbus Museum of Art in Ohio,
Huh.
where I have never been. So
Yes.
no, no, wait, sorry. That's in February to the Frick in Pittsburgh, at the
Uh,
Frick Museum in
okay. Yes.
Pittsburgh.
Yes.
So I'll fly out on the Friday. No, actually, I'll fly out on the Saturday morning, I think, and come
Yeah.
back on the Sunday afternoon.
Right on. Okay.
Um, Now I've been doing some archaeology in our storage,
Uh-huh.
and I have a item here that I'm
Ooh.
going to read the title to you.
Yes.
Subcity Media Inc.
Ooh.
Strategy Rough Cut. Caitlin Hare, director
Ooh.
John Philip Findlay. 5 minutes and 30 seconds, black and white, 16 millimeters. SND, whatever that means,
Sound.
distributed by Bobco Limited, copyright 1995.
That sounds about right. Yep.
Now, do you have this?
I don't. No, I don't. I don't have any of my student films, and actually, the one that Caitlin also starred in high school. I mean, I don't know where that teacher is. The only copy I turned in to class, I got a good grade on it. I never got it back, but I heard that that teacher still like showed it to subsequent years in class because it was based on a book that we had read in class. I don't know. In any event, no, I don't have any of the. I don't have the Andy Warhol documentary I did in eighth grade. I don't have. Yeah, I don't have any of that stuff.
Well, there are one or two others um, from Christie's days. I'm going to digitize, so I will digitize this then and
Oh,
send it to you.
okay, okay, yes. Yeah.
I mean, would you want
Sure.
that?
No. Sure. No. That's yeah. No. That's fine. Yes. Yeah. Yeah.
Well, they can do that. It costs about $11 or
Yeah.
12.
No. No. My hesitation is I have a VHS player, so
Oh, you do? Oh, that's fine. Then I'll send it to you.
I could easily just watch it. But that's funny. But no. But if you want to digitize it, I'm not going to stop you. That is actually already transferred from 16 millimeter film to
Yes.
that's from when I did the Tribeca Film School to VHS. So this would be the second now transfer of that project. Yeah, I very much remember that project. My mother's in that film.
I'll digitize this
Sure.
so that I can have it,
Yes. Yes.
and then I'll send you
Yeah.
the physical thing.
Sounds
Okay.
good. No, that sounds very good. Yes.
I must have seen it, but I don't remember it.
Yeah. 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 I think you. I'm pretty sure you came to because I that it showed in a. Um, I mean, we had a student showcase at the Tribeca Theater downtown.
Right.
Um,
Right.
and I was very disappointed because it showed without sound because the soundtrack, yeah, no. The bane of my existence was the sound to that, which actually could I even find the matching sound that's supposed to go with it now? I still know the band. I'd have to find the track that was supposed to go with it. In any event, there was a mistake. It ran silently and I felt very self-conscious, but I'm looking around. It held people's attention for it's only 5 minutes. I mean, all our films were only, I think the longest was about 8 minutes.
Right.
But I mean, it it's semi-narrative. I mean, it's not linear.
Right.
And so to hold people's attention for that long without sound, I felt okay about it in the end, but I remember feeling very self-conscious that it ran without sound. But there was applause and that, yeah, no, that was I remember doing that. That was fun. That was fun.
Good. 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 Well, so so back to the news. What's happening in Seattle?
Hi, oh,
Happening in the world? What's happening in America?
yeah, well, yeah. So
What's
I mean,
happening in America?
uh, I I've been taking a break from my regular news show, but I still consume about the same amount of news. But it makes a difference when I'm not sort of writing down my news and organizing it and trying to come up with a, um, yeah, I am feeling less anxiety, even though I am consuming probably the same amount of news. In Seattle, unfortunately, I think I had told you, a while back we had been, well, no, fortunately and unfortunately. Okay, so I think I told you about the Black Lives Matter Memorial Garden
Yes. Yes. Yes.
and then the other project, Feed the People Plaza, which they're also simultaneously going after because these are community run. It's very interesting to me that they're going after this. In any event, well, Black Lives Memorial Garden did get razed by the city of Seattle or the Parks Department. They came with bulldozers and they took down all the planters and whatnot. But what's interesting is it's it's not about planter boxes. It's about people. The community that's there is still there. The mutual aid where people are giving out food and other socks and things that stayed there. They're not going to go away. They can't. You can take the flower beds, but you can't take the people. And
So
so
they're not moving people physically.
well, I
But
mean it's a public park, so they can't. They
ah,
can't do. I mean that they can't do, but
are people allowed to sleep there at night? Or I mean,
well, okay, that's a very interesting because currently, no, people are not allowed to sleep in Seattle parks at night, and many parts of the city have various types of camping ordinances. Burien, a neighboring city, is getting real. They have a lot of. They're getting a lot of negative attention because they have a no camping ordinance. They don't have a shelter, so so there's nowhere for people to go, and they're
right.
using this private organization to to sweep people, and so it's not even like a social services organization. These are people who don't have necessarily any training, or they're not trained to deal with people who have
Yeah.
substance use, people who are they have no training. They're contracted. Well, originally they were contracted by private businesses, but then the city gave them a contract which really legitimized them, and all they do is literally sweep people out. They just come in and I mean, they make people move in an aggressive manner. They don't do any referrals. They don't offer any help, and it just moves people around. And then finally, what I guess the final straw, where really now the city is really under fire, a church said, "Okay, use our parking lot," and then the city tried to sue the church for letting people put up tents in their parking lot, which is the church's private property. And at that point, people are saying, this is the city just
Well,
saying
that's vindictive,
it's just
right?
vindictive. It's just extremely vindictive. So yeah, I mean that's unfortunate, but as much as I'm saying they're getting negative press, that's with me and bleeding hearts like me. Other people are saying, I don't want to see it. I don't care where they go. Get rid of it. And that's true in Burien. That's true in Seattle. That's true. I mean, it's true in a lot of places. And it's unfortunate because that's dictating. I mean, our city council now is now, it was, well, we used to have a socialist and it was, 9 people, 7 of whom I would say were strongly left. And now it's 6 people who people say are centrist, but I'm like, they're really, I mean, they're pretty far right. The person who's now our city council president, she runs a brewery, and they illegally put up. So to keep people in this particular neighborhood, what people were car camping and van camping, which I know a thing or two about. And it's illegal to just buy those concrete pylons and put them in parking spaces, but it's a scofflaw that the city doesn't enforce. And so this woman in her private business, she puts up these illegal things, then runs for office. Many people point out, but she's doing this illegal thing which the city won't even enforce, but now she's the city council president. So it's kind of like, homeless people go away. We want a tough on crime city council, but the city council president is a criminal. What she does outside her business every single day is illegal. I mean, you can take pictures of it. You can see it on Google Maps, and you can look at the city code and say that's illegal. That shouldn't be there. But no one will do anything. There's no. I just like my whole thing is there's just no integrity anymore. And this is left, right, center. It's not. It's not. No one even strives for it. It's how can I win? I guess is the world we live in now, and it's exhausting.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. So that's
It's
me.
funny. No, you made me think of something. It was just a flash vision, either yesterday or the day before. And when I walk to work from where I'm staying, I generally go across 77th Street
Yes.
from 3rd to Lexington.
Sure.
The corner of Lexington and 77th is where you have multiple subway exits and everybody going to work in the hospitals. So
yes. I know it well.
Busy.
Yes.
It's extremely busy, which is fine. And it is a place outside one of the subway stations where politicians often, I mean, local politicians. I've seen Carol Maloney there. I mean, this is in the years gone by.
Sure.
Talking to people, they're handing things out, right?
Yes.
So, it's cold in the morning. Everybody's bundled up. Everybody's kind of moving quite quickly. People are coming out of places with coffee or bagels, whatever. And I cross the road and I go right to get my muffin. I go past the subway entrance, and I've noticed there's this tall, dark-haired young man wearing just a suit and a tie and a white shirt. And he's just standing there, right? He's actually just, and I think, wow, that's a bit strange. Is he waiting for somebody? And then by the time I got a block further on, I thought, oh, he's a politician.
Yes.
And I really wanted to go back and ask him. I say, why do you want to do this? I say, because you seem like a nice guy. You shy. He seemed quite diffident. He wasn't. He wasn't grabbing anybody. He might have had some pamphlets in his hand. I don't know.
Right.
But I thought, oh dear, is this the beginning of one day is he going to be wielding the Senate hammer or so,
Right.
gavel or
Right.
something like that?
But
Or
no,
is
I
he
mean,
going to be completely disillusioned and I don't know.
right. I mean, you had said before, who would want to do this? And I think that's a really, if only the bullies and the meanest voices and the nastiest insults are the people who get ahead, who is going to want to do that? I mean, you see it. You see moderate voices just giving up, just saying, I'll go, I don't know, I'll be a talking head, I'll go work for some think tank. But it's so that
It's also a fairly decent salary for people who have absolutely no qualifications. No, there is no required
no,
CV,
there is no. Oh, no. And that's absolutely true. And it's, um,
and you don't actually have to know anything
right.
once you get there to do the job.
I,
Because if you're a junior person, you get told what to do by your
right, right.
workers or
No, right.
your staff will tell
Yes.
you what to do.
I do think, I mean,
You just work on getting reelected.
right. Oh, definitely. No. And I think, I mean, the layers of local government, it is kind of fascinating that you can just be sort of, um, yeah, not have a lot to say, not have, and just be there and just, and collect a salary. Yeah, I think people who really want, and I do think that the people who are idealistic and have an idea and have passion and got into this for the right reasons become disillusioned, or they play the game, or they give up and they just play the game, and they become, I mean,
Yeah, they play the game. That's I guess the bottom line. So I was fascinated by this lawsuit against the candy makers by this
oh yeah, this one's interesting
five
to me. Sure.
$5 million
Yep.
um,
Yep.
because it didn't look like and it didn't. I mean, it
No,
didn't.
I mean that's the real. Yeah, no. And what's interesting to me is that what makes this interesting to me is I actually bought these candies, specifically the little. They keep showing it. It's they're supposed to look like pumpkins, but then when you open it up, it just looks like a smear. I actually bought these. I don't eat Reese's because I don't eat milk chocolate because I'm vegan, but I bought them to give out at Halloween. I did notice in passing, oh, that doesn't really look like the package. Not enough to sue them, but I think she's right on principle. I mean, I think on one hand, this isn't, I mean, people, I mean, where are you on this? Do you think it's frivolous? Do you think she's right? Do you think?
Well, I think the $5 million is probably a stretch in terms of emotional
Okay, yes.
stress. But on the other hand, the difference between the package and the contents,
Hmm.
if anything else, was that, if you had a cereal which was, which showed, I don't know, colorful stars, and you open it up and they were all corn colored
Right.
blob. I don't know. It seems to me that
Uh-huh.
it's not. I can't imagine how they, in their corporate world,
Hmm.
how they thought this through, or how they tested it, or how they, because they must have had, they all have
Right.
these focus groups, right?
I,
So everybody in a focus group, they opened them up and they said, "Oh yeah, this is fine." I mean, or they decided that probably they wouldn't get sued, and it would cost them too much to make funny faces, real faces.
yes, no, I think that's exactly what happened. Okay, I'm gonna screen share something. Uh, this is why I think they could get away with something like this, because this exists in the world, and yet people kind of think it's funny, and it's kind of what you expect. So can you see? It's a SpongeBob popsicle, and it's what the package looks like versus what the actual popsicle looks like. Um,
Yes, I
eyes
do.
the eyes are off, it's all kind of melted, but you kind of, what are you going to expect? It's a popsicle, right? I mean, it's a popsicle. So I think in a world where people accept that that's okay, I think that's where Hershey's kind of thought no one will notice, no one will care. Or much like me, I didn't notice, I just didn't care enough to sue. But she's right, and that's where I'm like, but she's right. No, you're right, not $5 million, unless it becomes a class action lawsuit and then everyone signs on and I get my $3 as well. um,
But I would say, I'm back to SpongeBob.
yeah,
He did have eyes, right? He did have eyes. I
yeah.
mean,
It was there. No,
I would
you're right.
say
the details were all there if it was a little, yeah.
I mean, yeah, they didn't invest in those German machines that could
Yes. No,
actually put the
but
eyes.
exactly. No, and no, but here's where but and you say invest, but here's where it is. And wow, I can start yelling and get heated about anything, including chocolate I don't even eat. Um, it, they um they charge a premium for this. These, if you compare the size and the weight, these
Oh, I
little
see.
like Halloween candies are smaller and cost more per ounce than their regular shaped ones. And so part of it, you're assuming you're paying the premium because it's special packaging, but the product itself should be special too, not just the packaging. You know, I mean, it's you shouldn't be paying more for less. Well, in the end, you're paying more for less if it's not giving you the added detail. Yeah, no, I think it's a small thing. I mean, yeah, I think it's the tiniest hill to die on, but I am on her side. Do you remember the McDonald's hot coffee spilled in the lap lawsuit? Does this ring a bell?
Yes, I do remember
What?
that.
How
Yeah.
do you remember it though? What do you remember?
Oh, I remember that a woman
Hmm.
sued McDonald's because I don't know whether it was an employee that spilled it or she spilled it. I don't know, but she presumably she was claiming it was too hot, or I don't know whether it was the spill or the heat that was.
Okay, warning, graphic content. So, this was in Albuquerque. So this was local news for me at the time. This was in the 90s in Albuquerque, and I was living in Santa Fe. So this was in the papers every day. And so the national news versus in the national news, she was the butt of, and I can't, I almost said Jimmy Kimmel, but it wouldn't have been Jimmy Kimmel in the 90s. It would have been
No,
whoever, David Letterman and Jay Leno.
yeah,
But
yeah.
night after night after night, treating it like it's this frivolous lawsuit, why, who doesn't check the contents of who doesn't check how hot their coffee is, who, like, everyone, a huge
Right.
pile on. But here are the things about this. One, the coffee was too hot. It was 210 degrees, which it was something, it was like almost 200 degrees. It was almost boiling. It was literally almost boiling. The machine was defective. Two, the lid was improperly secured, and all coffee cups across America, if you want to say this is frivolous, all coffee cups in the world basically have now been refigured with more secure lids because of this lawsuit, as a result of this lawsuit. So she actually made a difference in consumer.
No, I've noticed that because I no longer pick it up and it falls in and it.
It used to
Uh,
happen to me. It used to happen to all of us all the time,
I did it all the
and we
time.
accepted that it was normal and okay. And she said no. And so what happened was, it was actually a drive-through. She did spill it on herself, but it was because the lid was improperly secured. Um, she burned her whole genital area. She had third degree. She needs skin grafts. But none of this made national news. No, she was just the butt. And can you imagine? You're
Oh,
like,
she was a privileged or something. I don't know. She
yes,
was
no,
a.
exactly. It was treated like she was one of those. Let me talk to your manager. That's
It
exactly
was.
how it was treated. But
Yeah.
I think it's interesting. I mean, I love consumer protection. I love consumer protection. Ralph Nader. I used to watch that show Fight Back with David Horowitz, where they'd go in and they'd do the gotcha on the car dealer who says one thing in the ads, but they're rolling back the odometers or whatever. I mean, no, I love this. I think this is, and it can seem frivolous, but I think it is. I think I,
Yeah, it's interesting to know the story. I mean, you know, uh,
and to me, always, if you look at how the media and or whoever, late night talk, whoever, who are they siding with? It's almost always a corporation over a person, and I'm like, wow, that's
well,
it.
because they're owned by a corporation
Well, because they have
that
this,
may
again,
that may own the same that may be part of the same conglomerate.
I mean, they may or may not, or it may all be. I mean, that corporation has the PR department to keep that spin going. This individual has no capacity to tell their story. No one's coming to their door. No one's. Yeah, the story takes on the life of its own, and it's amazing how often it is on the side of. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. All the packages are getting smaller. They call it shrinkflation, where all the bottoms of tubs now become more and more rounded. Uh,
Yes.
Drink juice bottles now have like handles, but really, every time you carve out a little bit more of the
Yeah,
bottle,
yeah, they're selling less for more.
they're selling less for more.
Now, apparently, the biggest French supermarket chain, which is huge,
Mhm.
is refusing to sell PepsiCo products
Because
because they're too expensive.
okay.
Because
I,
they've been fighting PepsiCo for a
oh,
year to
right.
get them to lower their prices. And this is interesting because obviously they make money too,
Yes.
but they now, and PepsiCo doesn't have just Pepsi Cola. It has, I don't know, Frito Lay,
Yeah, no, they do own Frito-Lay.
and
Yes.
French people buy all of this stuff. I mean,
Yes. Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah. No, yes, yeah.
they and it's huge, but they just said if you don't lower your prices, we're not going to sell your product, which is an interesting approach to take
That's
on behalf
fascinating.
of the. But why do they do that? Is it because it turns off consumers, or I mean, what, it doesn't cost them anything to just put it on the shelf if
It
people
does
don't
though. No,
understand
it
it.
does. It actually does. And this is so okay. So many things in there. One of which is, I mean, French culture is well. No, they yes they do import and consume. I mean, our fast food, our yeah, but they're also very protective of their own culture. So I'm wondering if how that plays into the tension of this is a foreign American corporation. If
No, I saw images of the supermarkets and they're just
they
like
just
ours.
look very American. Okay, okay,
Absolutely.
that's
Yeah.
not it. Okay, then it. Okay, a few things here. One, it supermarket shelf space is extremely premium. Is extremely so. What and there's a whole huge science of it. So much so. So what gets placed at eye level? They actually pay for it. My understanding. It depends on how, but the arrangements work.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
who if you want your chips at eye level in the middle of the aisle, which is where people you pay for that as opposed to the local brands or the smaller brands who get put down low. That
Yeah, yeah.
how every single aisle is very there's a science there's a reason the produce is on the outside and the dairy there's a science to
Yeah,
every
yeah,
single
yeah.
thing.
No.
The things where they now have screens in front of the freezer displays, and you're thinking, why is there a screen advertising the product that's right there inside? It's not a screen. I mean, well, it is a screen. The purpose isn't to show you something. I mean, they can put ads anywhere. It actually is a camera that is reading what you're looking at and is scanning and collecting data. I mean, there's so much supermarket science I am fascinated by. And they can't no and what this ties into me is an interesting lawsuit with Amazon now where Zahuli, which is an Amazon like company that was Seattle based, but now they're going bankrupt. But as they're going bankrupt and liquidating, they're suing Amazon, basically saying that Amazon pressured their sellers to give Amazon the lowest price, which meant they couldn't compete as a separate type of marketplace.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Amazon's Amazon's response, get back to consumer protection, is well, yes, we're Amazon, but we get the lowest prices. Yes, we pressure into getting the lowest prices, and that's for the benefit of consumers. They're saying that they're basically being a monopoly is actually for the benefit of consumers. I'm not buying that, but that's their
No.
legal argument in court. But back to the French, that yes, if a business can pressure PepsiCo, then they can pressure Coke. Then yes, it is a negotiation. Who stocks what and where it goes on the shelf. And I think supermarket execs and so the Pepsi execs, they fight this out all. Kroger, and now when you think about Kroger and Albertsons becoming combined, well, that's not going to go well for consumers. At the end of the day, they're going to conspire more yeah. I mean. Yeah, no, I say conspire, but again, they're also going to fight each other.
The bigger they are, the more leverage they have with the suppliers.
Yes.
And the more leverage they have with the suppliers means the less they can pay the suppliers.
Right.
But it also means without competition, the more they can charge the consumer.
Exactly. No, exactly.
Because they may be saying, a monopoly allows us to lower the prices, but the problem is without any competition, you have no way of knowing whether those prices are high or low. And they can give any reason. They can say, well, there's a shortage of sugar. That's why this is more
Right.
expensive. But there's nowhere else. If you can't go anywhere else to shop for that product
Right,
and find it at less expensive, then you're at the mercy. You're at their mercy.
right,
They have a monopoly. They can charge what they want, and
right.
they can link it to income increases or decreases and maintain their profit margins. And it might look as if they're lowering their prices, but
Right.
their
No,
profit
but no,
margins
yeah,
may
at
be
the end of the
increasing.
day, and at the end of the day, again, if you're a corporation, if you're a publicly traded corporation, your responsibility is to your stockholders. If you're not maximizing profits, they can sue you. So I mean, you're legally bound to not. I'm not saying screw the consumer, but to maximize your profits, which you do at any expense. Um, back to we were talking last week or maybe a couple weeks ago about pharmacies. I mean that again, if this is the only place you can get something, and now we're talking about medication, life-saving medication, and then they pull out of neighborhoods, or then the whatever is left can charge whatever prices. And I'm thinking about was it Walgreens brought Dwayne Reed, and then here locally we had Bartell's, but Rite Aid Bartell's, and then they immediately they claimed they were going to start expanding, but then they started closing stores, and
I
it's
think there's only one company. It's CVS.
I
No,
mean,
I do. I think there's only whether you go to Walgreens or CVS in New York, it's the same. I mean,
yeah,
yeah. I mean, they take my number, they take my telephone number in every place
yeah,
for the,
yeah, yeah,
for the whatever. I don't know why.
yeah.
I don't know if I'm getting some saving some points or something, but uh they always accept that. So as far as I'm concerned, it's always the same. It's the same company. Now, there was something in the paper that Florida was buying drugs from Canada now
Uh,
at much lower prices.
sure.
The pharmacy U.S. pharmacy industry is trying to prevent that.
But who was doing the buying?
I
This
don't know. I don't know why it would be a state that does it, but I don't know if pharmacies are licensed by individual states. But it was the state of Florida that
right?
was
No, I believe. Yeah, I believe you.
making the purchases from Canada directly from Canadian manufacturers, and they were much lower price, much
Well,
lower.
no, and they are, and there are ways to legally. I mean, there are mail order pharmacies. There are ways that you can legally do that in the U.S., but not. No, yeah, not this. I mean, well, I don't know if it's legal or not. I have not heard of like you said, like states or buying it, buying them on mass to distribute to people. Like you can buy. I know as individuals you can buy, and then also people travel to Mexico and you can buy all sorts of things.
Well, you can buy as an individual, yes.
Yes.
But I don't know about the online sales, or I mean, they can't open every package that comes from
Right.
Canada.
No, right.
I don't know.
But Florida's Surgeon General just said don't get COVID vaccines, which is, I mean, and the the FDA had to come out and dispute that and say no, he's not. They're safe, and
That was Ron DeSantis who
no,
said don't.
no, it was the Surgeon General of the state, like the health guy, the guy who has medical training.
Okay.
um, Allegedly, and that yeah, no, and his post gets flagged with like misinformation, but it's still up. I mean, this is the state of Florida. I don't. Florida is a wild, uh, a wild, yeah, a wild entity.
It's a weird place. Um,
But it's the third most populous state. I mean, people of all types live there. I mean,
because there's no tax.
oh yeah, okay, yeah, yeah, yeah. I mean, yeah,
That's why rich people live there. I
sure.
guess it's why poor people live there
Sure,
too. So I
sure.
don't know.
Yeah, and the sunshine. No, and the sunshine.
That's
But
fine.
but Ron DeSantis is pretty sure it's him. He's pretty sure it's all him.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So where are we with that? Trump's gone to the Supreme Court to be declared.
Which is
Uh,
fine. I'm in favor of him being on the ballot. I think anything that gives them excuses to say, and again, it is January 6th today, right now. It is January 6th.
yeah,
Anything
yeah.
that gives them
No,
excuses.
Bob, I agree with you absolutely. He does not. We do not need to give him excuses to say that the establishment is rigged against him.
Right.
He
Um,
he's got to get a total total a big wide road in front of him, so that when he fails, he can't blame anybody. Well,
Yeah.
he will, but
No, right, no,
oh,
right.
but
Uh, yeah. The most interesting thing is that he's been doing election denial since 2012, actually, long before he ever declared his
yeah,
own candidacy. He was questioning whether Mitt Romney should, running against Obama's second term. Like he's been doing these kernels that he's popped into
yeah,
a
yeah.
chaotic, whatever it is. He's been cooking for a long time. This is all. It's amazing to me that it's not. It feels sudden, but it's all structured. I mean, again,
It's a consistent playbook,
it's a
actually.
playbook. No, it's a
Since he took out an ad against the Central Park teenagers,
yes.
saying
No,
that
yeah, yeah,
that
yes,
was like a shot across the
yep, yeah, yeah,
bows, right?
yep. Uh,
Anti-black and Law and Order.
Speaking of council, isn't that guy one of those guys is a council member now? A city,
Yeah, yeah.
yeah,
I
yeah.
thought he already was. I saw something there was something, maybe I read that he was running. It was quite a while ago,
I
but
thought he had run. No, I thought he won. I'm pretty sure he won, but I could be wrong. Yeah, no, I knew he was running.
yeah, no, he's
Um,
got in. That's great. That's
yeah,
fine. So that,
yeah, yeah, yeah.
yeah. What else?
Um,
Academy Awards speeches at?
I no, I don't. Have they announced the top the
I
nominee?
don't know that, but there's
I know. Go.
people are already speculating about whether winners are going to use the platform to make political statements.
Oh, yeah. That's actually no. That's probably going to be the because it is officially it is awards season, and it's not just awards. It's the Met Gala. This is the season where celebrities get interviewed a lot. It's gonna get. You're right. That's gonna be interesting in the next few months. Whatever the event is, what people wear, what people say, whether it's flags or pins or yeah. I think you're
We
right.
already have Jimmy Fallon suing Aaron Rodgers over associating him with Jeffrey Epstein out of the clear blue
Okay,
sky.
and I talk about this all the time. So first of all, I mean, I don't know that no one on the list when it finally came out, and people were like, "It's coming out, it's coming out." I was like, "There's not going to be anything interesting." No one on the list is anyone who either surprised me or who I know. I mean, it's like people who were I already knew. We already knew he knew the
Yes,
Clintons and the Trumps. We
yes,
already knew.
yes.
No, it was all people we knew, and or rich people who I don't really know or care who they are. The guy from Louis Vuitton, the guy I don't care. I don't know. I
Yeah,
don't.
but the guy had a big address book which he used to impress people.
Right.
And
So
he may not even have known half of those people, but
and we knew association isn't going to mean anything, prove anything more than speculation. This is what I say about this topic, any topic. I don't deal with anyone who trades in speculation. And whenever there's a mass shooter now, everyone on every side says, "Oh, I bet it's a white nationalist," which I'm sorry, often it is. I bet it's a. I don't bet. I just wait to find out because they're gonna release it in 24 or 48 hours. So why do we? I don't deal in speculation. So oh, I bet Jimmy Kimmel's on the list. That just tells me where Aaron Rodgers' head is at as far as like how he processes information. I bet so and so does such and such. That's bias. That's not news.
it's good for the New York Post because they only deal in that. I
Right?
mean,
No, well,
no,
that's it is.
once something is a fact, they move on.
Well, because it is. You're right. No, it's tabloid. That's how you. That's how you. I mean, and that's how you smear whole communities. They're all. I bet they have disease. I bet. Oh, yeah. No, we could go on and on and on. There was one thing I did want to say because something you said, and then maybe that can be the final thing. Aaron Rodgers, Jimmy Kimmel, feuds.
And the
Yeah, I don't know.
politician.
I know. I think I lost it. You gonna go walk the dogs?
Yeah, yeah, before it gets completely dark.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
Have a great trip. Send
Thank
them
you.
all
I'll
my
check in
love.
with you
No,
anyway.
yes,
Okay.
please send them all my love. I miss them,
I
and
will. I
I'll send
will.
all of them, everyone.
No, I will. I'll see all of them and I'll make a point of doing that.
Okay, I love you.
Okay. Bye.
Bye.